My Dragon Punch. Oh my God, it's Friday. Welcome to Attack of the Show, TV's only source for all stuff you care about. I'm Kevin Pereira. It's good to see you. I'm just so excited. We got such a big show. It's a huge show.
I'm Candace Bailey. We are coming to you from the G4 Studios in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
On the show today, we have an all-new, never-before-seen DV Tuesday with Chris Gore. He'll tell us if Season 4 of The Guild and the 10-year anniversary of Memento are worth our money. Plus, he'll expose you to Birdemic, perhaps the worst movie ever made. Plus, get your DVRs ready because you might be a part of the show. We'll announce the winners of our ATN Groffle caption contest.
That is the worst word ever. It's a stupid word. We should never have used it, but here we are.
I'm the one stuck saying it every time.
Get what I want. Then Allison Hayslip sits down with a cast of Drive Angry. To learn how Nicolas Cage escaped from hell and how Amber Heard fights crime in denim short shorts.
This is what it would feel if you had a double head.
Is this, you want to be my Quado instead? No? Then the WWE's Chris Jericho shows off his handsome scar and tells us how his New York Times best-selling book will teach you how to be a champion. Step 1, buy his book.
That is step 1. Action movies require the following ingredients: muscle cars, badass chicks, and Nick Cage.
Yeah. Allison Hayslip finds out which will actually get you hotter in an all-new look at Drive Angry.
Nick Cage breaks out of hell, but the devil wants him back in Drive Angry.
Tell him I'm coming.
The tale of a vengeful father who sets out to find his kidnapped granddaughter after his daughter is brutally murdered.
You can't stop me.
Muscle cars, explosions, and revenge. Was the recipe for this film just too hard to pass up?
I just thought I was going to work with a really fascinating filmmaker, Patrick Lussier. I thought he had a vision. I wanted to get involved with that. And then he surrounded me with great actors.
They just told me I'd be saving the world with Nick Cage and Daisy Dukes.
Amber Heard and Daisy Dukes means nobody is going to be looking at me.
Just so you know, I don't pick up hitchhikers.
I didn't have my thumb out.
Are you a little jealous you didn't get to drive the sweet cars that Nick and Amber got to drive?
No, because I drive it at home all the time, right there at 19.
That's a sweet car.
Yeah.
So you're like, you get that at home all the time?
All the time.
Oh, did you give them driving tips then?
No.
Oh.
No, I don't think Nick needs any driving tips. I don't think Amber needs any driving tips.
Really?
So, yeah.
They definitely held their own?
For sure.
Get down. I grew up driving cars in this city, and I don't take any unnecessary risks in my own life, but when I get a chance to make a movie where I can really drive fast, I go for it.
Do you drive angry?
Good question. I actually do, yeah. Lived in LA for 18 years now. It's hard not to. We got a fight coming.
Do you really think that 3D is bringing a lot more to the film?
I do in this case, most certainly. I mean, because 3D was at the center of Patrick Lussier's vision. He was part of the new wave of 3D, him and James Cameron. So I wanted to perform his vision of 3D.
What's sexier, Amber Heard in cowboy boots or the 71 Chevelle?
Oh, man, you can't ask me that. I love muscle cars, Amber Heard and cowboy boots, no doubt about it. Wouldn't want to be you when Satan finds out.
What's he gonna do? Not let me back in?
Ride shotgun with Nick in Drive Angry or go to hell.
Allow me to ask a Zen gaming question. Is there quiet before a Bulletstorm?
Oh, Candace, you need to take a game break.
I do.
Well, look at that, everybody. X plays Adam Sessler.
Yeah.
Howdy, sir.
So what's the 20% chance of? That we're just
we're gonna talk about
Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon most likely.
I like Psyduck.
Did you manage to catch them all yet?
Yeah. There's that one.
Game's over. After all the hype and waiting, Bulletstorm finally hit store shelves yesterday. This is another shooter from Cliff Bleszinski and Epic Games. Of course, People Can Fly was also involved, I think, heavily in the game.
Very heavily.
What's the setup? Is this world any different than from like a Painkiller or a Gears of War? What is actually happening?
It is a very different world. Just visually, it takes place on a planet that used to be a resort planet, and so you're in this kind of. It's destroyed ugly, I think is the best way to describe it, because this would have been a tawdry, tacky, Tijuana-like, place for and now it's all destroyed. It's filled with mutants. You crash land there. You're this mercenary, and your arch nemesis is somewhere else on the planet, and there's horrible mutants that you have to kill, and you have to kill them very, very stylishly.
Does any of this play into the gameplay, though? Anything that you've said?
Well, actually, some of it does. The location does. They really have a lot of fun. I don't want to give away some of the surprises, but there are some amusement park areas that result in some gameplay devices I was not expecting and had me giggling the whole time.
Okay, awesome. Well, every video that I see of this involves trick shots. Like it's the whole reward system of the game is built around killing people in glorious and grandiose styles, correct?
Right. Think of John Woo's Stranglehold, but fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That hurt my brain a little bit, because it certainly wasn't.
Yeah, because, this is what so many action games have tried. Do the Tony Hawk formula and, put it in an action game. It almost never works. Here it does. It's a very, very strong shooter. You get all these different weapons, and you have this kick move. That's really what the trick is that when you kick them, everyone slows down, but then you have ways to get creative with your weapons. And it starts off a little bit slow, and then suddenly you're doing things you weren't expecting. It's this wonderful kind of feedback loop. Once you open up a new style move, you want to try to get another one.
And you try to integrate that into combos and whatnot,
and they are so silly and over the top. It's fun to die and try it all over again.
But does it work? I see this and I immediately go, I need a mouse and keyboard. I mean, I have PC first-person shooter.
It is really good on the 360. Really? I have not tried it on the PC yet, but I was so happy. I would not be surprised if that primary SKU was the 360.
And of course, everybody's been talking a lot about the ad campaign, even celebrated the over-the-top sort of raunchy tone compared to games like Gears of War. Does it work? Does it make the hyper-violence fun?
It is such a breath of fresh air to laugh when playing a video game, especially one that is mocking the self-seriousness of so many other video games, even one made by Cliff Bleszinski.
Right.
Really, look at everyone's feet. They look familiar. But, I mean, there is profanity in this game that just had my jaw on the floor, and my wife had to come into the room to verify that wasn't me.
Really?
Because if I came up with something like that, there would have to be
That was a glimpse into the Sessler household. Are you just randomly cursing and shouting in the other room now?
I would love to repeat it. I can't. They're that bad.
Love it. But that's good that it has a sense of humor about itself, as opposed to trying to be that hardcore, serious, grinding
game. Ever so
game.
often, it does get a little bit earnest, and that seems to work at odds with the other tone. It's more fun when it's being shameless and provocative.
Right. Now, again, first-person shooter, we're seeing lots of gunplay, lots of gun porn and violent stuff. I imagine when you take this online, you'd be able to hop into a server and kill your friends, but that's not the case with the multiplayer modes,
They do an anarchy mode or an echo mode, and it really is work together to, in anarchy, get waves and waves, take care of them, but you have to hit a point total, so you have to be working with the style shot. This is a classic case of it's fun if everyone you're playing with is on board.
Right.
If you have someone who's being lazy, no one else can advance, and it gets a little bit tiresome.
And in terms of replayability, is this something where you want to go back and try to get better combos, better kills, find all those little hidden
It's one of those
depths?
games where when I was playing it, I was already planning to go back and take care of stuff.
I imagine
and talk to your friends and find out what they did.
All right, so interesting concept. This is it's original IP. Do you think they hit it?
I think so. I think this is going to be a hit. I mean, there's not too much coming out for a little while, and there's nothing else like this on the market. I think word of mouth is going to carry it.
All right, well, what's the word of X play? What did you guys give it?
4 out of 5. The AI isn't great. It's rough around the edges in some places, but you really can't have more fun right now.
Right. I love it. Bulletstorm 4 out of 5. Thank you, Adam Sessler. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Again, Bulletstorm is in stores now. Coming up, you sent us thousands of dirty, filthy tweets.
Yes. We picked through all of them to find the winners of this week's ATN Umbraplo.
What was that? I'm sorry?
Umbraplo. Time now to celebrate this week's best online murder attempts. Seriously, all of these people should be dead.
Yeah. Somebody call the cops, because we're going around the net. Today's number 3 is a salute to our troops, because not only do they protect us from evil, but they're in great physical shape.
Yeah, this guy's abs are so tight you can bounce a rubber bullet off of them.
I'll give you a countdown, all right? All right. I'll give you a countdown. 3. Lower it, lower it. Oh, I got you right here. That was a good aim.
God.
We asked you what kind of award should he receive for his distinguished service.
And our winner was Drunk Cobra Commander, who wrote, he got the "at least I didn't get hit in the balls with that" award.
So nice, yeah.
I like it.
It's a fancy certificate you can put on the wall.
In at number 2, this next kid eyeballs his competition.
Yeah, and that was his biggest weakness. So good.
So what else is he expecting with that one?
I don't think they were expecting much. Have you ever had a fireworks accident?
No.
No?
No, because I don't throw fireworks at people.
Well, that's...
I know they
then
can
you're
just
not
blow up
living
in your
life.
face.
You're not living life.
Anyways, we asked what was he thinking right when the flaming ball smashed his grill.
Viewer Bugger Off 55, all right, wrote that this doesn't hurt as bad as his uncle's cigarette burns.
Dear Bugger Off 55, I'm so sorry about your childhood.
Did he write a specific uncle? Did he write
Uncle Gil.
his Uncle Gil?
Uncle Gil.
Oh, wow.
How dare you, Uncle Gil?
I think that's pretty
You know
awesome.
where you're going. Bing, bing, bing.
That's where Uncle Gil
That's
sends
hell.
him, actually.
That's
Oh.
Today's number 1 is
One
courtesy
to the
of
Marlboro to the eyeball, then ding, ding, ding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
That's what
saying.
Uncle Gil would do.
Today's number 1 is courtesy of a bunch of ornery French gentlemen.
And John Williams' timeless ode to hitting your enemies in the face or with hot space swords. Oh, that's right. Lightsabers are hot space swords. I got it. Yeah, my bad. We're good.
It's okay.
We're all friends here.
Yep, we are, kind of. We don't know what this fight was about, and we don't care. Enjoy.
Oh. Terrible.
It's just blurred out.
I love that. You can't cancel the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity. The seniors get angry. We asked you, what is the title of the Star Wars sequel that these men appeared in?
And the winner is TDGKT88, who wrote Episode 7, A New Hip.
Wow, I'm going to give you that one. That was solid. Teacher Danny Viral Fix it and check out all the viral videos we have to offer. Go to g4tv.com/aroundthenet.
Are you one of those people without a Cheeto-dusted hacker friend who hooks up all your gadgets?
Well, don't start trolling around your local internet cafe for help. Instead, go hack yourself.
You don't need a time machine to relive your misspent youth. From classic video games and vintage comics to long-forgotten TV shows, here are 3 quick hacks for going retro in the digital age. First, at $2 a pop, loading up your iPad with comic books and magazines can be expensive. Instead, get all your old favorites for just pennies per issue. Here's how. You know those collections of magazines and comics that have been available on CD and DVD for years? Well, portable, PDF-friendly devices like the iPad finally make these things worth buying. Like to geek out on Star Trek? Stock up on more than 500 Klingon-filled comics for less than $10. That's 2 cents for each. Pick up 97 classic but timeless Archie comics for just $4. And although 50 Years of Mad magazine is pricier at $70, it's still a great bargain for fans. Only 12 cents an issue. Plus, all the Mad fold-ins work. Loading these PDFs onto an iPad couldn't be easier. Fire up iTunes and add them to your library, then sync to iBooks. Or upload the PDFs to a Dropbox account. Then download and view them inside Goodreader, one of our favorite PDF readers for the iPad. Once you've OD'd on comics, kick back with hours of TV nostalgia at the YouTube Time Machine. This web app pulls in thousands of classic TV shows and retro commercials from YouTube. Dial in a year, turn on autoplay, and prepare for a childhood flashback. Get specific by enabling just the categories you want to see, whether it's video games and commercials or non-stop music videos. You can save your favorites or help make the site better by adding your must-see TV to the database. YouTube Time Machine is a great way to rediscover some lost gems, and it won't cost you a dime. But your search for ultimate retro satisfaction won't be complete without a pint-sized handheld gaming system called the GP2X Wiz. We got ours from ThinkGeek.com for $100. To unlock the Wiz's true potential, visit openhandhelds.org. There, you can download emulators for your favorite platforms. Now that you have some emulators, you need games. A quick Google search should turn up plenty of ROMs, which are basically digital copies of classic games. ROMs are a legal gray area. To be safe, you should only download games you already own. Connect the Wiz to your computer and copy the emulators and ROMs to the 2 gigs of built-in storage. Finally, launch the emulator, choose your game, and prepare for an old-school flashback. The GP2X Wiz is an 8-bit freak's best friend, and it's small enough to take anywhere. Thanks to 21st century technology, classic TV, long-lost magazines, and retro gaming are only a tap or click away. All you have to do is go hack yourself. Still ahead, growing up and joining the workforce doesn't have to suck. Today's nerd job belongs to an artist who draws Dungeons & Dragons book covers for a living.
And later, WWE's Chris Jericho wants to hit you over the head with his new book. Very nice. Stick around. I think he's more like a two-handed.
Oh, like this.
Hi, everybody. It's your Uncle Ted with an epic giveaway thing. Yesterday, Kevin and Lady Kevin gave away a gigantic Blu-ray DVD grundle, courtesy of BBC Home Entertainment. And the winner is Jeremy D. of Trinity, Florida. Congratulations, you little scamp.
And now, a hot chick silently judges you.
It's Friday, February 25th, and here are your top stories. British air travelers are getting a taste of the future. Manchester Airport has virtual security guards. Yeah, 2 holograms named John and Julie will give passengers standing in security lines information about the amount of liquid they're allowed to carry through TSA screenings and remind passengers to have their boarding passes ready. In an interesting twist, the technology used to project John and Julie onto a transparent plastic surface is the same tech used to make the animated musicians from the Gorillaz appear live in concert. Yeah, the airports hope the holograms will speed up security lines and not ask Obi-Wan Kenobi for help. Scientists are working on an old-school inkjet printer that spits out sheets of human skin. Researchers at the Wake Forest Institute for Regenerative Medicine are looking for new ways to treat burn-related injuries, and were inspired to replace the ink in a desktop inkjet cartridge with skin cells. The result, a bioprinter that could someday create sheets of healthy human skin for wounded soldiers. While the machine is still 5 years from perfection, we are confident that the results will be both really awesome and kind of gross, too, at the same time, I think, yeah. And finally, I want to talk to you about your fat pussy. I do. I mean, I know it's weird and not a lot of people talk about it, but you need to know that more than half of American cats and dogs are overweight. Did you know that 1/5 of all pets fall into obese category? No? You didn't know that either? Okay, well, scientists attribute your pet's poor condition to your poor condition. Sharing fatty table scraps with your best friend is bulking them up, and your dogs aren't getting any exercise if you're not. The health crisis is creating a surge of diseases like diabetes, arthritis, kidney failure, and high blood pressure. So if you want a new exercise partner, he's right at your feet. eating the scones that you just dropped. I'm Sarah Underwood, and you've just been fed. Now back to Kevin and Candace.
Thank you, Sarah Underwood.
Maybe jocks beat you up in high school, but don't worry. Karma is a biatch.
God, you sounded so urban when you did that.
Karma's a biatch.
Okay, all right. Now, those jocks are, they're probably working in paper sales, and you're about to land a surprisingly kick-ass nerd job. So they're biatch.
Designing the market for schools, FTP servers, doc types.
Now, when you think nerdy jobs, you think guys who build computer motherboards or the guys that collide the stuff over in Switzerland, right? But that is just the tip of the iceberg. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna dig deep into the workforce to find the most awe-inspiring, ridiculously nerdy jobs that you wish you had.
Rob Pryor has one of the greatest nerd jobs in the universe. As an artist, he's illustrated covers for the likes of Spawn the Impaler to the Terminator series, and got his big break illustrating the iconic Dungeons & Dragons covers of the 80s.
It takes a while to get to a point in your career where you're like, I'm working from home, and if you don't like it, then you don't have to hire me. So how did you get started in this whole thing?
No, I started with airbrushing t-shirts. For a long time at like Dungeons & Dragons conventions and comic book conventions. I kept doing that for a couple of years, and I got really, really good at doing photorealistic characters, and nobody else was doing that at the time. And finally, at enough conventions, somebody would look at it and go, oh, we could use that.
Did your style kind of develop from that because you are, one of the preeminent, if not the best photorealistic artists, in the world?
I just kind of had to work at it. I picked a niche of photorealism, which also worked commercially for me because I could do book covers. I could transition from a commercial piece to a non-commercial piece.
How do you get to a point where you're doing cover art for Marvel, where you're doing heavy metal magazine covers?
When you're at conventions, submit your art over and over, get rejected over and over again. You have to continually do art. I mean, you can't just relax, and when you're first starting out, you just got to pump it out.
So tell me what you're working on now that's really cool.
I'm working with a company called Killspace, and we're coming out with a fully interactive medium. It's movies, games, comics, all combined into one. It's something that unlike anybody has ever seen. With this whole combination of things, it's being able to see somebody get a gun put to their head, to actually watch their brains get blown out, and then in order to read anything on the last panel, you have to wipe off the pad.
And then Blood Merchant, expand on it.
This is probably the last time I'll do a fully painted, by hand painted book. I haven't done something like this forever, and I really don't think it's been done in a long time. I think, since the days of Arkham Asylum and stuff like that, there's not a lot of painted stuff that's not on computer nowadays.
Talk about something you do that's very unique. You can actually create art with both hands at the same time.
I did it in order to start saving time.
Are you ambidextrous in life, or just with this?
When I was really young, I had a very paranoid thought about losing one of my hands. I was like, I better learn how to...
I gotta figure this out with the left hand.
And, fortunately, it hasn't happened yet.
Some fancy fingerwork indeed, but could he maintain his focus and capture this beauty in one passionate stroke?
That's good. That's good.
You like that?
That's good. That's good. This is gonna be a masterpiece. Yeah, it's awesome, dude. Awesome.
Cool.
I'm done. You want to see this?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Oh, that is nice. That is photorealistic. That looks exactly like I look in the mirror. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for having us, man. Really appreciate it. It's been awesome. And you really do have one of the coolest nerd jobs on the planet. You will not see this on eBay. This is special to me. Did I put my finger right out there?
Yeah, think of livestock.
Oh, yeah.
If you have an iPhone, you should also have the G4 iPhone app.
It's a good point. You'll get all the latest gaming news, the reviews, and thousands of videos in your pocket, which is much easier than carting one of us around.
Definitely. I've tried, and you're really heavy.
Search for G4 on iTunes and download the app for free today. Stay tuned. Chris Jericho tells us about writing after wrestling.
The feed is brought to you by HTC. At HTC, every innovation we create is inspired by you.
make Oprah's book club.
Yeah, but he can pick her up and body slam her, and there aren't many people that can claim that. You know what I mean? All right, folks, my next guest used to beat people up with furniture for a living, and now he's written a book telling you how to do it. Joining me, the author of Undisputed, How to Become the World Champion in 1,372 Easy Steps, Chris Jericho!
Nice! Yeah!
Welcome back, sir.
Nice to be here.
How
Yes, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great.
Yeah, kudos on the book, man. It's I know it's selling like hotcakes.
New York Times bestseller.
Look at you.
I'm now a two-time New York Times bestselling author, which means I'm smart.
Yes, you've arrived. Do you get a placard? Do you get a card?
I need a pipe and an ascot.
You're close enough. I think we can get you a brandy sifter.
And like a ring,
right.
like a World Series ring for best.
There really
isn't.
belt
There
or
no ribbon.
trophy?
No, not the trophy.
You've got enough belts, man.
I do.
Do you have a belt closet? Where do you keep? Do you get to keep the belts?
The thing is, you're not allowed to say belt anymore. The Vince McMahon verdict is their titles or championship belts.
Wow.
So when you say belt, it's very offensive to me. It's almost like Vince is going to yell at us. Don't say belt. Don't say belt. But the thing is,
I gotta ask you, coming out of the WWE, is there like post-traumatic McMahon disorder? Like, are you actually in fear that Vince might be hiding behind a plasma right here and then pop out and give you the Santino?
It's like you're a prisoner of war, and when you get out of the war camp, you're just scared. You're looking for the guy to give you scraps. Yeah, I mean, working for Vince he's a genius, but as all geniuses, he's a little bit of a lunatic. But and that's actually what Undisputed deals with. When my first book, A Lion's Tale, was kind of all these trials and tribulations I went through to get to the WWE, which was my ultimate goal. And then once I got there, the dream was more of a nightmare. It was like I realized it was completely not ready for it. And then all these kind of tricks and traps I went through with my boss, who was telling me basically that I was terrible. About 9 weeks in, he took me in his office, and I thought he was going to give me a pat on the back, and he said, "You're the drizzling you're green as grass, you're not worth the paper your contract is printed on." So it was a nice little pep talk.
And there's no denying that wrestling is incredibly athletic, that you guys are putting your bodies through the ringer every time you're out there. To do that, I heard you have to have daddy issues, and a piece of your brain has to be broken to want to put your body through that. So to be a wrestling superstar, to do something so physical and so performance-driven, how shattered do you have to be? Like, what is the neuroses?
Completely shattered. Yeah, parental issues. I was actually left.
I mean, putting up with the protein farts in the locker room must be
It's horrible. It's very traumatic. I was actually left in a Target by my parents when I was 4 and left to fend for myself. But I mean, one of the reasons why I was always able to get ahead in wrestling, because when I started, I was small. It was 1990. It was all about the 6'8" giant guys. But I always treated wrestling as show business. For me, it was all about show business, because when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was be a wrestler and be in a rock and roll band. Those are my two dreams. So when I started wrestling, it's like I can't be the biggest guy physically, but I can have the biggest personality, the biggest charisma. So I didn't want to be Hulk Hogan or Ricky Steamboat. I wanted to be the Paul Stanley of wrestling, the David Lee Roth, the party host.
Right.
And that's kind of what led me through, and it helped me to get up the ranks, because I always had a little way to connect with the crowd. Because that's part of show business, whether it's wrestling or music or acting. You have to connect with the people that you're performing for.
Like even if you're being the heel, you want the boos from the crowd.
Absolutely.
That's what you're going to thrive on.
Exactly.
That's what you're going for.
You want them to be booing, because that's your version of cheers. It's like winning an Oscar if people are telling you suck.
I convince myself that every time I walk the red carpet and hear nothing but cheers. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
I'll be your heel. Whatever.
I like when you walk the red carpet too, and you can tell they don't know who you are, but they're taking the pictures. They obviously just have the flash bulb on. They're not actually taking pictures. Just flash, 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 flash. Thank you.
Yeah. There's a guy with a flashlight just flicking it on and off for me as he's going through the photos of real celebs.
Yeah, totally.
But so you said you had 2 dreams. Obviously, you achieved one, no question. You're the world champ. Then when you transition into music, did you expect that, hey, I'm going to have this following, I'm going to be iTunes #1, I'm taking Bieber down the moment I strum a guitar, or did you know you would have to work your way up?
Nobody can take Bieber down.
I'm telling you.
I just want to tell you that.
The next WrestleMania, if you just
I'm from
give him a
Canada, so
clothesline.
he's like a demigod there.
Really?
It's like Justin Bieber and Geddy Lee are like running the country now. I never had any problems with like starting at the bottom for anything that I've done. And the thing is, because I did it in wrestling, when Fozzy took off in '99, I didn't expect to be like, oh, we're going to sell 1 million records. And so that's another interesting dichotomy about the book, is that here I am performing in front of tens of thousands of people at Madison Square Garden one night, and the next night working at the Tribeca rock club in front of 55 people with my band, but still having the same passion for both. And then seeing the band grow the same way that Chris Jericho, the wrestler, grew 10 years earlier, and now it's like, we're playing festivals around the world and doing all this great touring and all this stuff 5 albums in. So I was crazy enough to have 2 of these dreams and foolhardy enough to go for it. But I guess the bottom line of both my books is like to get sappy, play sappy music. If you have a dream, you can make it come true.
So right here, one more time, right there. Yeah, because we're out of time. We're out of time. Right in here.
If you have a dream, you too can make it come true. Because the only people that are going to tell you can't do something.
But now that won't fit in a tweet. That won't fit in a tweet. You went too long. It's just got to be dream, make it true.
It'd be the TI tweet where it's like too much information. It goes too long.
Chris, it's an excellent read. Thanks. Congrats on our success, man. You're a hell of a guy.
Thank you.
Chris Jericho, everybody. The book is actually everywhere now. You can probably download it, read it, or do whatever you kids do with the text. For those who don't know, this week actually marked the 69th anniversary of the actual Battle of Los Angeles.
Back in 1942, during the height of the Second World War, a series of unidentified flying objects appeared in LA and were engaged by a U.S. artillery brigade.
Yeah, to this day, no one knows exactly what happened, but here's a never-before-seen look at the real Battle Los Angeles. Battle Los Angeles is in theaters March 11th.
Coming up, Chris Gore walks us through a Birdemic on an all-new DVD Tuesday.
I'm gonna watch.
Fail. You're dead. Major fail. Fail. Good. Fail, 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 fail. You lose.
Guess you could say I'm looking for a lady whose heart wants to form a rebel alliance with my heart.
Galactic Encounter.
Coming up Monday on an all-new Attack of the Show. Objection! Funny man Nate Cordry from Harry's Law will be here live in studio. Then we review the D-Link Boxy Box in Gadgetron. It streams the internet to your TV via Wi-Fi and has tons of web apps for only $200. And Fresh Ink will organize your life with a new comic collection app and show you a mysterious red-hot comic that's being called The Next Lost. See it Monday. Your calendar may say Friday, but ours says it's time for an all-new DVD Tuesday. Welcome back, film expert Chris Gore.
Thank you, Candace. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. What do we got first?
Well, what we have first is The Guild Season 4.
All right.
The Guild!
This is a web series, and the episodes are only about 5 minutes long. So is this a good running time, or is it too short?
It's perfect for people like me that really just don't have much of an attention span.
ADD?
Exactly. Look at the monkey! I'm often saying that. But no, I love it. I'm a huge fan of the web series. And Season 4, I guess the one thing I didn't like so much about Season 4 is Felicia Day now has a boyfriend. Codex has a boyfriend, which kind of bummed me out.
Okay.
And she has one in real life, too, which also really bummed me out.
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
No, but if people start this at Season 4, will they be lost?
Well, actually, on the DVD, there's a recap getting you right up to Season 4. So if you're like me and can't pay attention, you can get caught right up with what's going on. And
how long does that take?
Oh, they're really short. That's what's fun. Is they go like really quick. So
how many are there? Do we know?
There's for every season, for all the seasons. They kind of recap
it's a
all the
recap
seasons,
of everything.
getting you up to Season 4, which is what I love about the extras on this.
Cool. So what's the bottom line?
Bottom line for me on this, it's Rent.
All right.
And I especially love the commentary where Felicia Day talks about farting. In-depth conversation with Felicia Day.
Who doesn't love people talking about farting?
Yeah, especially when girls do it. It's great. I think it's funny. What?
Fart. Okay, what's up next?
Next, we have Memento 10-year anniversary edition.
Now, Memento was very well received when it came out 10 years ago, but does it stand the test of time?
Believe me, it stands the test of time. I mean,
it's a great movie.
It's one of my all-time indie favorites, as just like this noir thriller, and you really do see, like, Christopher Nolan is, to me, one of our great filmmakers today. I mean, he is to me like the modern-day Stanley Kubrick, and just a big fan of it, and it really holds up. It's one of those movies that actually requires a second viewing to understand what's going on.
Definitely, or a third viewing. Now, you get these special editions for the extras. What are some of the highlights?
There's a whole bunch of behind the scenes on this, but really my favorite is the Christopher Nolan commentary. Specifically because Chris Nolan doesn't do commentary anymore, you know? He did commentary for his first movie Following and for Memento, but not for The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, or Inception, no commentary. So he really breaks down like what, his process and reveals sort of Chris Nolan's secrets. And that's what I love about this. And this film also requires a lot of that because it's such a complex plot.
So what's the bottom line?
Bottom line for me on this is a buy. Love Memento.
What else do we have to check out, Chris?
Birdemic! Birdemic!
Billed as so bad it's good. Is that true or is it just bad?
Well, let's just say, I mean, to me, there's an art to bad movies. But I will say this, like, to me, Tommy Wiseau, the filmmaker behind The Room, has some competition, and his name is James Wynn. I mean, it's one of those things where when you see a bad movie, this is someone who's wholly committed to their horribly bad vision of a film.
Okay, but I don't understand what's the point of watching something that's so bad. I feel like it's just a waste of my... I mean, really.
Look.
The birds. Seriously.
Those special
and the
effects.
acting and just everything. I mean, I had to turn it off.
Well, I think there's two things. One, I love the fact that James Wynn, the director, is so delusional he thinks this is genius. That I love. I find that entertaining.
Okay, I can see that.
And also, we can learn from this. I don't look on any experience as good or bad. I think, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to learn from James Wynn
a bad movie
to never make a movie like Birdemic. I think that's what we've learned.
All right, I see your point. I see it.
Yeah.
Bottom line?
Bottom line is you want to rent it to see it. I gotta say, Candace, that I really appreciate the fact that you actually watch all these movies.
Oh, well,
like myself. And I love hearing your opinion on these films because I love when someone challenges me, especially with something like this. I think I might have convinced you that it's actually good. Did I convince you?
No, but thanks, Chris. That means a lot.
I appreciate it.
For more Gore, follow him on Twitter at @ThatChrisGore. And now, back over to Kevin.
The government keeps insisting that UFOs and aliens don't exist, but it sure looks like they're gearing up for it. See for yourself on today's Military Tech.
When it comes to fires in the sky, our boys in uniform know just what it takes to get the job done. And with 3 new air vehicles in testing, they'll soon be more ready than ever. First up, the Navy's X-47B, a tailless unmanned aircraft currently under development by Northrop Grumman. With a 62-foot wingspan, the X-47B flew for 29 minutes at an altitude of 5,000 feet for its first flight last month. As the test proved, the aircraft is on track to endure long-range flights at 40,000 feet within the next 2 years. And since its data uplink is run by satellite, operators can choose to be on the carrier itself or stay safely at home base while flying. Thanks to its autonomous aerial refueling probe, the X-47B will not only be carrying 4,500 pounds of weaponry, but also 2,000 extra pounds of fuel for gassing up other combat planes in its path. The U.S. Navy has invested $635 million into this solution, with plans to deploy 2 of these bad boys in 2013. Now that we have gas and munition on lock, let's look into combat vehicle transportation. And for that, we have NavAir's V-22. In its 4th year on the field, this multi-mission military aircraft nicknamed the Osprey is now equipped with a larger cargo for carrying wheeled vehicles. With about 18 square feet of space, it can carry 20,000 pounds internally, as well as 15,000 pounds externally, while 24 troops can join inside for the ride. Designed to combine the functionality of a conventional helicopter with the long-range, high-speed cruise performance of a turboprop aircraft, the Osprey is known as the centerpiece for U.S. Marine Corps operations, getting Jeeps, tanks, and Humvees in and out of the battlefield quickly and safely. Lastly, we just can't talk about aircraft without mentioning the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. Now in its 5th generation, the F-35C is finally in flight after a successful Navy test last week, proving that the latest stealth-capable model can in fact reach the 1,200 mile/hour max speed that Lockheed Martin reported, as well as over 590 nautical miles for its combat radius. After a year-long wait and much skepticism due to the B model's recent fail on a reconnaissance mission, the F-35C is back to being the most anticipated fighter plane to come out of flight testing at the end of this year. And at an estimated $110 million per unit, there are some high expectations. So whether it's refueling, transporting, or just flying at record speeds, it looks like 2011 is the year when the U.S. military's tactical aviation fleet really starts to take shape. And that's the latest in military tech.
Thanks to Chris Jericho, Sarah Underwood, and Chris Gore.
Stick around. Why? Cops is starting right now. That's right.